Hi, Jon Velie, CEO of OnlineVisas, back here again today to talk about immigration and the COVID-19 pandemic, also known as coronavirus. Hope you're doing well today. You may be sheltering in place. You may be open like our company is. You may be somewhere in between. You may be working from home. But thanks for tuning in again. Had a good time talking to you yesterday. If you have any questions, please ask them. We'll try to do this. We're also doing this on, this will be on YouTube. And any of you guys that go to the OnlineVisas YouTube channel, please like and share and subscribe. I see Mike Ablett, one of our green card recipients, has joined us. Hi, Mike. Really want to talk a little bit more. We're going to dig a little bit deeper. So our agenda today will be to recap a couple of the things we talked about yesterday, but I also want to talk about something that a number of other people and other companies have been doing, and that's what can we do to transition our company and what we do to help with the coronavirus pandemic, right? And so we want to help healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, others that are needed come into this country to help us out. We're probably, in some places like New York, they're already inundated. Other places around the country haven't felt the scare yet, but I think a lot of the things that we see from the doctors that we may see in the next 10 to 15 days may be similar to what we're seeing in places like Spain, where people are laying on the floors of hospitals, and we're seeing temporary hospitals erected. And so we have we're building the spaces, right? We're seeing factories like Ford and Tesla, GM that are retooling to build medical devices to help us through this. So, as an immigration attorney, there's a lot of global talent out there, a lot of doctors and nurses that maybe could help us. Our doctors and nurses are in the front lines right now. We know they're going to be taxed. So, we're going to talk a little bit about how we might be able to help there. Agricultural visas, investor visas, all of these have been things that have been at issue lately. We're dealing with two things right now. One is the pandemic and the health concerns, and the other is keeping our economy afloat. And those are two things that we both want to see happen. So to recap a couple of things from yesterday, we talked about that, number one, the consulates are closed right now. The consulates are where people go for interviews to get their visas. What we do at this office is we will submit a visa application, either have a non-immigrant visa, that's like temporary visa, that's the alphabet soup, the H-1Bs, the O-1s, the Ps, the L-1s, the E-2s. Those are non-immigrant or temporary work visas, and once we obtain them, then people will go to their consulate in their home country or the country they're residing in and get a consular official to do an interview and then come in. Also, the borders of Canada and Mexico, they can do that, and all of those are closed at the moment, so that's difficult, except for emergency scenarios, and we can talk about what that may mean and what that may apply possibly for medical care workers that may come in. So those are closed. The USCIS's field offices are closed right now. Those are for people that are going in for appointments to get your fingerprints taken, to do an interview for a marriage-based green card or a naturalization. All those are closed right now. But the service centers aren't. The service centers are where we file the visas, and those often take months anyway. They have stopped doing premium processing. That's the 15-day processing. So if you need a visa, and we know this is going to happen, it's going to cycle through, and then it's a multi-month process anyway. It's not a bad time to put those applications in if you know you're still going to have a job. So we're still doing that. We got a couple dreams delivered in the last couple days. We called dreams approvals, right? So immigration is still approving cases. We got some good ones done in the last couple days. That was a little bright sunshine on an otherwise gloomy situation, and it sure was great to be able to call those folks and be able to tell them that their American dream came through, and they sure were happy. That was some great news for them. So that's going on right now. Things are going to be slower. We can expect that, but we can still go forward. We're still here to help. We're getting a lot of questions on the other side of it. What do we do if we need to terminate What if we have to close the doors? What if we have to, we want to lay people off, either paid or unpaid? We want to keep them on insurance, things like that. So those are the questions we answered yesterday. So I'll quickly go through that. Number one, typically if you stop working your job, even though your visa stamp may say it has a duration in the future, your visa's over. That's the typical way to do that. Are we going to see USCIS take some discretion on that? Probably is the question. Is the answer. What we've seen them do is newly determined things is that public charge is now an issue, even for the non-immigrant visas. Did you take aid from the state government for the federal government? You're going to have to tell them if you did. So USCIS.gov, you can take a look at that under public charge. We'll talk about exceptions to being declared a public charge. One, getting Medicaid to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. The coronavirus. Medicaid's not, it has an exception for emergency situations also, but they're specifically saying if it's COVID based, then that's not going to count against you. Secondly, you can take uninsured insurance if you show that it's COVID based. So what we were saying yesterday is make sure that your employers write a letter saying the reason you're not working is because of this virus. Very important to get that information. You're going to have to prove it later. All right, so those are sort of some of the things. If you have any more questions about that, go to our website, OnlineVisas.com. Check out our YouTube channel. You can watch these videos again. We'll post them up there. We'll post them on the website. Please subscribe and like it and share it. We're giving away this information to help people out. You can also call our office, 405-310-4333, or schedule an appointment at OnlineVisas.com. We're glad to help you through this problem. So let's talk about the medical industry right now and how can we help the medical industry. Well, we know doctors are going to be taxed. We know nurses are going to be taxed and all the other people in between in that profession. God bless them. They're putting themselves on the front line. We know there's not a cure to this yet. So a lot of these folks will end up getting this disease. Many will die, or some will die. We don't know that. I don't pretend to be a doctor by any means, and I hope it goes through quickly and we get back. But I think we have to be ready for the worst. In doing that, like I said, other companies are retooling to do things. We're here to help. We're here to help our medical facilities or medical caregivers in the United States bring in doctors if they can. Now, this is not an easy thing, right? So there's a couple of things. There's been some good articles about it. Essentially, where did I see this today? I was just reading up on it. There was an article in Pharmaceutical and Life Sciences News, Foreign Doctors Hands Tied by the Visa Rules in COVID-19 Fight. That's by Jackie Lee and Genevieve Douglas in an article just published March 24th of this year. And that would talked about that the H-1B is one of the visas that doctors will use. Well, the H-1B has a problem in that it is employer specific and site specific, right? So if you're at a hospital in rural America and there's just another facility needs your help, you can't just go work there. Now, could they subcontract those people out? Maybe. But maybe not. And is the employer or employee willing to take that risk? We don't know. Again, will USCIS be forgiving of scenarios like that? We hope so. We believe so, but you never know. But a subcontracted position, especially if it was a temporary stint and within a commuting distance, might be possible, but the law doesn't quite say that. Another thing is the green cards. So nursing green cards used to be pretty quick. There's a type of green card where it waives the advertising component of the EB3 green card and the EB2 green card under the PERM process for Schedule A occupations. Nurses are those Schedule A occupations. And the Philippines has been a wonderful country of providing nurses that will be mobile, that'll move around the country. And those folks have been coming in on green cards. But the backlogs in green cards lately have taken that from virtually a few months into 4 years. And that's unfortunate. And again, again, these requirements, are we going to see them lessened? This is what I'm hoping our government will do, and why I'm getting on and talking about this. We need to change the dialogue for immigration in America. Immigration isn't bad. We're a global economy. There are great people around the world that can help us do a lot of things, and doctors, especially in countries like India, and nurses in countries like the Philippines and the rest of the world, if they can and they're willing to come here to help us and we need them, then why shouldn't that be an easier process? So what are the types of visas right now that you can do? Well, we talked about the H-1B visa. All right. Now, the problem with the H-1B visa, and specifically now, is that there's only 65,000 H-1Bs available, with an additional 20,000 for those who graduate from medical schools in the United States. So 85,000, right? That's a drop in the bucket. It's not very many. And for those, because those fill up so fast because there's so few, we have a process called a lottery. Now, the lottery had a new system this year called a registration for the lottery, and that's already over. That ended just last Friday, literally the 20th of March. There will be no more visas available under the H-1Bs. Well, does that have to be that way is my first question to our government. When you're talking about stimulus bills right now, can you extend these things? Now, we know that's possible because the H-2B visas for agricultural workers, and the Trump administration allowed 35,000 additional H-2B seasonal workers just recently. There's an article that I just read by Camilla DeChulis. Trump administration now allows 35,000 more H-2B visas, and that was just recently. 10,000 of them were designated for Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, and it's just a situation so we can get more workers out into our fields. Well, I mean, we need medical care facilities too. We need more people that can help us in these professional jobs. So they know how to do it. They could extend more H-1B visas, but they haven't done that, and there has been no discussion on that. But we're early in this game. So hopefully that will happen soon, and we may see something like that. Another thing is our consulates are closed. We talked about that, except for emergency situations. So if we can get doctors in on visas, can we open the consulates for them to come in and help us? Possibly. Besides the H-1B visas, again, are for specific locations and things like that. We talked about is the O-1 visa. That's for the extraordinary ability. Now, that's not a lot of people, right? We've been honored to represent some great doctors. Dr. Luc Montagnier, the doctor from France who discovered the AIDS virus. We helped some doctors from Johns Hopkins, one of the best hospitals in the world, obtain an extraordinary ability visa, and she was fantastic. She had helped working, in her home country, some of the really underprivileged people get through those situations. But we're going to need to do a lot more now. There's only so many people that are extraordinary, but will the extraordinary come over? We need immunologists. We need people that understand the pharmaceutical elements, maybe that can cure this, the scientists. All sorts of people could help us right now. The O-1 visa is available. It doesn't have caps. Unfortunately, no premium processing, but that's something that we can work on too. Besides the O-1 visa is the TN visa. That's for doctors from Canada and Mexico, and maybe some nurses. We'll look at that. They have to be physicians. They're going to work in the U.S. Either teaching or research doctors. They cannot. We can work with patients directly, but they have to be less than 10% of their total duties, and that's a bit of a stretch. So maybe we'll see some relaxation of that under the TN to get some Canadian doctors or Mexican doctors up here to help us. So we'll take a look at that. And the J1 visa, now that's how a lot of what they call foreign medical graduates, folks that come to medical school over here, will come in on the J1. The unfortunate part of the J1 is almost across the board, all of them have a 2-year home residency requirement. So they can come over, they'll have to go home, and it has to be part of this program. So to go to school and learn some things. But we'll see what our government does, and hopefully they'll make some changes. I think we can anticipate that. I think we can ask that of our congressional leaders. Maybe we'll see some stuff in the stimulus bills. Maybe not this one, but maybe the next one. So some of the things we can talk about, that's what we'd like to do here, is how we can help. We talked about the agricultural workers. That's the H-2B visa. There's going to be some extra ones of those. We're here to help. those folks that need a few extra hands, and maybe we can help even find some people that want to do that. And then the foreign investors, it's been discussed in the stimulus bill, and it's somewhat controversial, that whether we could increase the number of foreign investors in the United States. The program is called the EB-5 visa, right? And so many people, especially from China, have wanted to do this that the backlogs have now become cumbersome and unrealistic. They've also increased the investment from $500,000 per investor, where you create 10 jobs for Americans. It's really a great program. We're not borrowing from other countries. We're getting investment from other countries, and those who invest and create 10 jobs for Americans can get green cards. Pretty good deal, right? Well, we've decided in our wisdom that I guess we had too many people doing that, so we backlogged them and we raised it from 900,000 to 500,000 to 900,000 for the target employment areas. Those are either rural or high unemployment. And it went from $1 million to $1.8 million for the regular investors, right? So it became kind of cost prohibitive and really slowed it down. So the Trump White House has suggested adding that to the stimulus process, to add from 10,000 of these folks to 75,000 and have the investment reduced from 900,000 to 450,000. That could be a way to stimulate our economy while we're taking so much money out. Having people that can invest, that can help, can create job creation in our country if we can do it. So we're ready to help there too. Those are some of the things. If you have any questions, would love to hear it. I see all sorts of friends that are checking in. Sylvia Zupelli can't fly back home because the mountain closed. Sylvia, good friend and a ski pro at Aspen, is stuck here. And I'm going to read the rest of her deal. Pardon me poking that. I'm on a P1 visa. I can't fly back home the day the mountain closed because of the virus, and the day the president of Argentina canceled all flights from the USA. I tried other options, but the land borders are closing too. What shall I do? Well, great question, Sylvia. I don't know if there's anything you can do right now. So it's really sit tight. The fact that you're not working on your visa shouldn't be held against you. If you are out of status, you can be out of status up to 180 days before a bar kicks in, right? A bar is when, if you've been out of status as an overstay from your visa and you try to get another visa, they can't give it to you. They can give it to you up to 180 days, and we've seen that's been a pretty typical thing to do. I think we'll see immigration make and carve exceptions, especially if you can't leave. Right. I mean, we had another client today that was approved for an O1 visa for consular processing. Can't leave. His country is completely shut down in New Zealand, and that's unfortunately the way it is. He asked, will I be okay? We're all guessing, but we think yes. That's the deal there. So let's see if we have anybody else have any other questions. See a lot of friends on there. Tom Kindly, good friend of ours from the New England Free Jacks, is there. Good stuff here, guys. Let's see. So any other questions you got? Feel free to give us a call, and at our number 405-310-4333 is our office number. We're still here at the office. You can email us at jon@velielaw.com, jon@velielaw.com, or go to OnlineVisas.com. We're going to be posting articles on this. There's one on the H-1B visa, which has some particulars to it. We're going to come out soon with the L1. It also has some particulars on it, and we'll call it visa by visa, really, to give you some information. But look, really, you guys be safe. Stay healthy, shelter if you need to, work if you can, and we'll keep in touch. All right. So thanks so much for showing up. I really appreciate you all, and take care. Jon Velie, CEO of OnlineVisas.